Right, a warm welcome to Teach to Reach participants who are watching on Telegram. This is a semi-public live stream. We're actually holding this dress rehearsal for partners. But if you happen to be looking at our YouTube channel and you just come across this, this is actually going to be really focused on the nuts and bolts of participating in Teach to Reach Connect 6 with a focus on partners. So we'll be starting in 14 seconds. All right, a warm welcome to you from Geneva, Switzerland. This is for those of you, the partners who will be watching the recording of this dress rehearsal for partners. So we're also sharing this live stream with Teach to Reach Connect 6 participants via our Telegram channel and our YouTube channel as well. So many different ways for partners to also catch up and also begin to watch this. So we'll kick off. Perhaps before we do, I can ask Ja to send a quick email with the Zoom link, as we'll be moving quite quickly through the content for this session, and I want just to make sure perhaps that they get that gentle reminder. And a warm welcome to Robert Kanwagi, who's just joined the session. So I'm going to kick off with some very practical points in this dress rehearsal, and first of all about the purpose and the reason really why we're having this rehearsal, and that's let me just okay, here are some additional participants joining now. Let me just stop the join and leave sound and make both my colleagues co-hosts here. So really, everyone by now, of course, is very familiar with the Zoom platform. However, we use a combination of Zoom and Hopin, and Hopin is very different from Zoom. So we've seen some people who make assumptions that it's going to work like Zoom, and it does not. And also, it's just a different platform. Every platform will have its own quirks. So we'll come back to that later, just to make sure that you understand what those quirks may be and how to work around them, how to understand what is going to be different. So really, it's also, rather than presenting to you how this works, we're going to be we're actually going to move together through this dress rehearsal and go to the Teach to Reach platform. We've set up a special version just for this dress rehearsal. That's what I'm showing you here. So we'll be going through the different areas and explaining what these different areas are, what they do, and depending on what your role is as speaker or panelist or guide on the side, or as a workshop owner, what to expect and how it's going to all work. So these are the things we're going to do. It's really sort of understanding what is different about Zoom and from Hopin, and then practice. So to answer the first question, we have on the left-hand side Zoom that we all know and love, and they're now thanks to the pandemic. And you can see there's a single link that we'll be using throughout for all the sessions. So starting at 8:30 in the morning, we'll be starting the French language sessions for the plenary sessions. So if you are involved in a plenary session, and you should know by now which one it is, then you can actually focus entirely on Zoom, although there may be for the plenary itself. Now in Hopin, if you are doing what we call a workshop or a special session, then that will require you to go to the Hopin platform. And here again, you have a single link, which I'm showing here. And then the session type, again, here you can see that there are 5 sessions that are listed here. And on the left-hand side in yellow are the plenaries. So the The plenary focused on how we build confidence in COVID-19 vaccines. That we're doing in partnership and collaboration with UNICEF and other partners. That will be in the plenary. The second one is with the Zero Dose Community Practice and IA 2030 Working Group 3 on the coverage and equity. And that's the second plenary that will be led by the Women Who Deliver Vaccines Collective. That will also be happening in plenary. But if you are an active participant, the best place to be is in Zoom. However, you will see that, and I'm going to demonstrate this very simply, which is that everything that happens in the plenary is also broadcast inside Hopin. That I'm going to demonstrate this very simply, which on what's called the stage. So most participants will be either on this viewing the plenary from the stage or social media channels. But if you are an organizer, a speaker, want to actively participate, and you have things to say or things to share, or you're one of our guides on the side, you need to be in the Zoom room for plenaries. Then on the right-hand side, you have the workshops. And if you are in a workshop, then you should be there. In that case, you do not have a choice. You have to go to Hopin. And that means working through the process, what's called getting a ticket. So basically registering on the Hopin platform. I can show you this better here where I haven't signed up yet. So going from this, and we're actually going to do it together. So you get to try it and let us know if you run into any problems. And then the point of going to the Hopin platform in that case is because the workshops happen inside the sessions. So you can see here there's a workshop for the purpose of the dress rehearsal. And so we'll be going in here, and Charlotte will be demonstrating what how this area works to make sure that you understand before next Friday. So that's the initial intro. Before we pause for maybe a first round of questions, I want to turn to Ja to ask her really, again, to just remind us what's the purpose of the rehearsal, and more importantly, from her experience, what are her 3 top tips for partners who are going to participate, contribute to Teach to Reach? All right, I see Charlotte has just joined the workshop. And then last question for Ja is if she can explain what is a guide on the side.
Sure, Rita. Hello, everyone. Really good to have you here for the dress rehearsal for next Friday's big event, Teach to Reach. Today's dress rehearsal is really for you to practice the event platform Hopin, because it is quite different from Zoom, and to answer any questions you have so that you get to practice everything to manage your participation successfully next Friday. I only have 2 tips when it comes to participation next Friday, which is even though regardless of the session type that Rita just shared, whether you're joining in Zoom or from Hopin, which may be a new platform for you, I would say the real excitement is the opportunity to connect with country-level health professionals who are there to hear experiences and also to engage in meaningful dialogue and conversation with you. So that's, I guess, leads to my second tip, which is to enjoy the day. I have participated in the previous editions, and it's always been an exciting event for me, and I hope that will be the case for you. And for many of you, you will be the guides on the side, especially for the plenary sessions. So to understand that, usually we say compare it to the sage on the stage. So your role is really to listen first and foremost on what country-level health professionals are sharing, to make sense of their experiences, and then to for you to share your feedback, your comments, based on what you know, the best global practice that you know, to be able to help that health professional at the country level to do their work better and to motivate them to do better. So I hope that's a helpful sort of overview. Back to you, Rita.
All right, thank you, Ja. So now we get down to practice, and we're going to practice using Hopin. So we've set up a special sort of a copy of the conference of the Teach to Reach event that will be taking place next Friday. So you can see it here. And you can see right now that there are 3 things live at the same time. Now, this is basically for practice. Usually there will be only one that is lit up. So you can see the stage, the sessions, and the people, or the networking. So we'll come back to that. Before we go there, there's a few things I'd like to review with you. And one is about ensuring the correct setup. So we highly recommend Google Chrome as a browser. And also check that your version of Google Chrome on your computer is the most recent version. You want to avoid keeping open tabs in Chrome. And then the other critical thing is if you're going to be speaking or presenting or sharing feedback as a guide on the side, you want to make sure you give Chrome permissions to use your camera and microphone. And of course, you need a working camera and microphone, and preferably a headset. Now, we recommend many people amongst the participants use their phones. We recommend using a desktop or laptop with a good, with the best connection that you have available. And again, if you have sort of virtual private networks, proxies, firewalls, Hopin is quite sophisticated, just a sort of digital platform, and sometimes the problems are linked to those things. So if there's a way for you to turn them off, and then again, if you're going to be speaking the sort of usual things that I think most of us are familiar with now about ensuring you have your quiet environments apply. Now, I'd like to ask each of you to go to the rehearsal using this special link. And I'm actually going to do it, but you should click on the link that you should stay. I recommend you stay in inside Zoom until you've made it to the conference. I'm going to show you, so I'm going to try to do it myself. Whoops, here we go. So you should, when you click on that link, actually, you should see something like this. So you should see that the event is live. And make sure you're looking at the Teach to Reach Connect rehearsal. So once you have seen this page, please go to the chat in Zoom and type yes or done. All right. So I can know that each one of you has done this step. All right. Robert, Rachel, Courtney. Okay. All right. So we still have Amadou. Once you are on this link, please type done or yes. The same for Mohammed Liman and Dayo Iwat. And Robert, okay, yeah, Robert is fine. Sarah, when you okay? Yes, okay, great. So then the next step, let me show you what these slides say, and then we'll actually try it. So first you click on register, and then second you click, you will see the screen that says thank you for registering. So I'm actually going to try that. Let's see if it works. So I will go to register here. All right, and I see the global partner dress rehearsal. So now sometimes people get confused because there's actually a list of different tickets. And so you want to make sure you use the ticket that you've been assigned or invited to use. In this case, you just want the global partner dress rehearsal ticket. Click on continue. And so here I'm asked for my email. So I'm just going to... I'm just going to put one here, and their first name and last name. That's all you need to do at this stage, and then click on register. And as shown in the slides, you should all have a thank you for registering. So if you want to again type done when you've completed this step, then all right, thank you, Rachel and Sarah. And so go ahead and click just type done into the chat. Again, we're still in Zoom, but you should have a browser window open so you can, and you should be looking at the same, you should get to the same point where you see me with that thank you for registering screen. All right, Ian, great. And let me know if anybody has any problems of any kind. This is why we do we do this step by step together. So thank you, Ndayo and Courtney. All right, and if anybody's being left behind, you can always review this at your own pace later, because the next, what we want to get you is actually in Hopin. That's where the fun stuff can actually can happen. So check your inbox after registration, and that's where Charlotte is actually already in the session workshop, waiting for everyone to join her. So you should find in your inbox. You'll find an email that says, thank you for registering. And that is where inside that email, you will find a button, this blue rectangle that says enter event. And then once you have done that, let me see if I can actually join the event here. Okay, yeah, so in my case, so I've tried to be sneaky. I haven't gone to my email. And so I'm going to try the email I used. Okay, and again, it sends me the access link. So I have to go to my Gmail or to whatever address I went to. I'm going to now cheat and actually sign in. One other option that you have is to sign in using Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Apple. The SSO is not an option, but in some cases, the simplest way to sign up is just to use your Google or Facebook accounts. So that's what I'm going to do here. And now I can actually join the event. So once you are, oh, okay, asks me again for, global partner here. So I'll register here. And now I can join events. Sometimes I get confused with Hopin. It has this kind of, registration system that is kind of quirky. And I see we do have some Teach to Reach participants like Manisha Danan, who says hello, Maman Rabiu from Niger, and June Ojukwu from South Sudan. Okay, and June, you should check your email if you've just been through that registration. So by now, we're now in Hopin, so you should all be in your browser in Hopin. And if you wish, you can actually leave Zoom, because the next stage of the presentation is going to come from Charlotte, and she will be showing you how the workshop actually works. Before you do that, again, just to show you explicitly what the browser permissions look like, it's really important. If you say, do not allow the use of the camera or the microphone, you won't be able to use your camera or microphone at all within Hopin. And it's kind of obscure. It really depends on every device is different in terms of how you reset those settings. So the first time you see a prompt, it's a security prompt. So some people just sort of instinctively click no or do not allow, and then are stuck because they're not sure how on their device to change those settings. These are all things we now take for granted in Zoom, but in this case, it's a little bit more complicated. So the way the Hopin is set up, I can now show you here. On the left-hand side, you have the reception. So the reception is where you can go to find out what is happening now. You can also see the schedule. And in the schedule, you'll always see the things that are going on right now. So right now, if I go to the stage over here, I can actually see myself here as as this is what happens in the Zoom studio, where we want guides on the sides, speakers, participants, panelists who are actively participating is in the Zoom studio. Most people will be watching either from the stage or via social media. The second area, and this is where we're going to find Charlotte, is the sessions. So you can see here this little and these are the workshops. So in this case, we have one workshop set up, and I'd like you to go, now that you're all, in principle, you've all made it to Hopin, I'd like to ask you to go to the workshop dress rehearsal purpose only. So for Allison, who's just joined us, let me just give you the link where you can go and there. If you click there, you should then be able to register. Click on the register, put in your email, first name, last name, and then you'll receive on your email inbox, you should quickly receive a magic link that drops you right into this area. But I'll continue to show you what's happening on Zoom. And I think I actually need to go to Chrome. So I have two browsers set up. That's just to go here. And Charlotte, are you able to hear me and speak to us? Okay, so let me go. So right now, Charlotte is in the...
Yes.
Right now, Charlotte is...
Yes.
Yeah, there's some sound feedback issue because we're trying to do things that we will not be trying to do outside of the dress rehearsal. But right now, you can see that Charlotte, who is using the Geneva...
So I can talk from home. I'm able to hear you, Reda.
Okay, I think you're coming in twice, once via the browser and once via Zoom. So, and I think we just need one. So unfortunately, let me see if I can, okay, I think if I mute Charlotte for now, yeah. So right now I am in the workshop as a participant. So this is just like Zoom webinars where you have attendees and then you have the panel. Charlotte, using the TGLF account, is in the panel. Now, if you are supposed to be in the panel, there are two ways to get there. One is to click on, if you see this blue button, share audio and video, that's one way to do it. So when you do that, you'll be asked, do you want to join the panel? But before that, you have the audio and video settings. So here I am now, as you can see, I am now in the panel, and I can share. In this case, I'm sharing my webcam. I could be sharing my screen. And yes, if you are, as Rachel has just done, if you should be by now, you should be with us in the workshop. And this is where, all right, I'm going to hand it over to Charlotte. I'll try to solve the feedback problem. Yeah, I'll try to do that. Charlotte, you should be able to speak and share your screen now.
Okay, thank you very much, Reda. And hi, Ian, hi, Connie, and hi, Rachel. And to all those who have not yet joined the panel, like as Reda just said, if you want to join the panel, you click the share audio or video button. So I'll just share my screen and run you through what you can do during a workshop or a session. And this is especially probably for you, Ian, for your session. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so I hope you're able to see my screen. You can just type a yes in the chat if you are seeing my screen.
Yes, Charlotte, we can see you. I can see your screen. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Reda. All right. So that is we have started with troubleshooting, but we are here for for a workshop. We have already been through the stages, so I'm not going to go back to that. So okay, so as you when you joined the workshop, and I'm glad to see that most of you who joined, you saw the welcome message and you were already able to identify yourselves by telling us that you have joined or introducing yourself, typing your city, your country. You have answered yes, so you already know how the chat function works in a Hopin workshop session. So here is what we get to see. what we get to see when we are if you are moderator, this is what I'm seeing. And if someone requests, when you request to share your audio and video, it appears on the panel like this, and I'm able to invite to join the panel, and we can have up to 20 people on the panel at the same time. And to share screen, this is if you will be running the parallel session. I'm thinking about the session on zero dose, and I'm also thinking about the vaccine confidence sessions. And you have slide X. There is this little share screen icon. That is, you click on it and you choose. The second step is you'll see your entire screen, application window, home tab. So you select application window, and then you'll be able now to choose the particular screen that you want to share. But if you're using a Mac, I'm using a PC, but if you're using a Mac, the instructions will be different. So you have to exit full screen mode on your Chrome browser and PowerPoint when sharing the screen. If not, the PowerPoint will not appear in the list of applications due to the full screen mode limitations on Mac. So basically, that is it, and it's very easy. It's very straightforward. One thing that is really good to know is when you join the panel, it's always good to turn off your audio, that is your microphone, so that there won't be any interferences while others are speaking. Earlier on, you saw when I joined the session earlier on, there was this echo because Reda was speaking at the same time, and my audio was on my telephone through which I joined the Zoom session. And there is a short tutorial. There is a brief tutorial. It's just like 5 minutes.
Sorry to interrupt. I suggest that each person, I think Ian Jones just did it, that each person try sharing their screen. In some cases, again, there's a permission that you have to give to Chrome, that your system has to give to Chrome to allow it to share a window. Unless you do that, you'll be stuck, no matter how, no matter what you do to try to actually share your PowerPoint or whatever else you're sharing in the workshop context.
Exactly. Thank you, Rena. And I don't know if you have any questions. You can just go ahead, unmute yourself. Since we are in a dress rehearsal, you can go ahead and unmute yourself to ask your question if you want to have a better understanding of how the workshop session works in Hotmail.
Yeah, I've got a question, Catherine or Rada. I'm having trouble getting into Chrome because when I've tried using Chrome, but then it sends me an email, and the email then links into Safari, and I've tried sort of copying and pasting the link, but I just get back to the registration page, which then sends me another email, and I click on that, and it sends me back to Safari. Is there a trick for getting into Chrome?
That's a good one. That's probably some browser configuration on your system. So it's hard. I've never heard of that happening. So, but of course, every technical problem starts like that. My suggestion would be to try to right-click when you're in the email. Try to control-click if you're on a Mac, or right-click if you're on a PC, and see if there's an option to open in Chrome. The other thing is to open if you're using Gmail, to open that in Chrome as well. Those would be my two suggestions, but those sound like a file type, certain file type or links being by default open in Safari. I know there's a place if you're on a Mac where you can change that in system preferences, or actually within Safari where links are open by default. So those are two suggestions.
Okay, thanks, Rhoda.
And I see Sarah has the same situation. I guess you're also using a Mac. So I hope that the guidance will be helpful to you. I don't know if there is any other question. And I see, glad to see that you're there, Alison. So please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just had a question about maybe it's more about the event. Are we meant to be sharing our screens? That's, I guess, that would be just a quick question on that. I think I don't have a problem doing it. I was just looking to see it. I think it's fine. I just tried, but I guess I'm blocked because you're sharing. But I think it's not, I don't have a problem with that. But I just wondered if we were expected to share screens during the event.
No, just a quick response to that, Alison. It's no, especially you will be joining the FGS session as a guide on the side. So you actually be on a plenary session with me in Zoom. So, and you'll be there to listen mostly to the experiences that are shared by the participants, the FGS participants, and there to give your useful feedback as always. Okay. I don't know if there's any other question.
And just to clarify for Alison, in the first part of the presentation, I know you joined a little bit late. In the first part of the presentation, we showed which sessions are in plenary and which sessions are in workshops. So it really depends on the type of session, whether or not you will be presenting or need to share your screen.
Okay, thanks, Reda. I just wanted to show one more thing that is like a new feature in Hopin. If you look just above the chat where the chat pane is, you'll see they have added there are features like people. You see the number of people that are actually in the session, but there is also a Q&A tab. So it means if you're moderating a session, you can actually ask people to use the Q&A tab to ask their questions. So, and there is a blue, I don't know if you can you click on that Q&A tab and try to ask a question? So let's see what it gives you. I'm sure there is a blue icon highlighted, say ask a question, ask a question, and maybe I could. Okay, so I'm all right, so I see okay, I see. Okay, to be or not to be, that's great. I see Uza. Okay, I'm asking a question. That's great. So that is like a new so if you are moderating or facilitating a session, you can actually ask participants if they have any questions so that the questions don't get lost in the chat. You can easily go back to the Q&A to actually select the question, and people can actually vote for the most important question, the question with the thumbs up. There's a thumbs up icon, so they're able to vote for the question that they want to really see answered. I'm not going to ask us to try the Twitter tab. There's someone else on our team that actually knows how to use that. So, but I think the two most important. Yes, Reda.
Yeah, just I think for Zoom users, there's a very important distinction here, and that you have two levels of Q&A. So, for example, if I go to event here, I also have a Q&A option, and this is a question. This is a space for participants to ask questions in relation to the entire event, and then you have the session tab, in which you have the Q&A for the specific session. So some participants are now very Hopin experienced, so they will understand that there are tabs for different levels for different of the event. But you should be looking for questions for your session that some people will inevitably put into the Q&A for the entire event, or conversely, people will somehow find their way to a session specific tab and ask a question that is actually relevant for the entire event. So that's a feature, not a bug. It means more context specificity in terms of where questions got asked. But if you're coming from Zoom where you don't have that, it's probably at least at first confusing. So the bottom line is, for your session, you want to explicitly tell people that their questions, they want to make sure that they first click on the session tab and then click on the Q&A and the chat. And most people as we all know, lots of people, even if they're instructed to use the Q&A tool, which has some benefits, will just go to the chat and ask their question. Over.
Okay, thank you, Reda. So maybe the first tips to share with participants as they just joined. That is why I left the message in the chat as you were joining to say, welcome. Can you type your city or country in the chat? So knowing that as you're joining the sessions tab is what is highlighted, and every feature that is under that last chat, people Q&A, and Twitter is for the sessions. All right. I think Reda, we could round up with this if there is no other question, and then maybe try out networking.
That sounds great. Are there?
Sorry, I have a quick question. Do you want us all to share our screen? Try sharing our screen?
No, okay. If you want to try sharing your screen, let me stop sharing my screen, Rachel, so you could try that. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so over to you.
So you said if, oh, okay. So,
there is a share screen. Okay, yeah, you got it.
so you can see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay.
Okay, and you just need to zoom it out a bit, and then another tip. Rachel, please, if you mute, can you? Okay, that's thanks. So if you look at, let me see if I can do that demonstration using the share screen icon. Let me see if let me just reshare my screen and see if that feature actually shows. So it's not very visible here. Let me see. Okay, so if you look here, there is this little arrow. There is this arrow that if you click on that, it will hide the pane. It's very useful during share screen mode, because at times participants are like, they are not able to see the PowerPoint that is being shared. And so you can click on that arrow to actually expand, the screen, so that you can get more visibility. So that is also another tip I wanted to share with you, so that if a screen is being shared and you're not able to see clearly the PowerPoint, you can actually fold up the side pane, and then to be able, so that you can see more clearly. All right, so I'll move over to let me just quickly run through the slides for networking, because some of you may want to interact one-on-one. That is one of the highlights of a Teach to Reach Connect, that ability to network with professionals from across system levels, across regions, countries, global, with subnational health facility. And so if you want to get in touch with any of the participants, you can use the networking feature. So it's just below the sessions, you'll see networking. That's what you'll see at Teach to Reach Connect seats. Maybe now it's actually showing people on your screen, but it's the same thing. And
so
you
Charlotte,
click on network. Yes, Reda.
There's a few things that have changed about networking since our last Teach to Reach Connect event. If you remember, we all looked at the new features, what's new in Hopin, and so networking is now called the People tab. And it does not look, you don't see the ready button. It's the same principle. I can share my screen and show you what this looks like. I think the slides are from the March event, if that's okay.
Okay, please go ahead, Reda.
All right, so let me see if I can do this. I think I want to share just a window, and I must admit, yeah, here, I think this will do the job. Oops, okay, for some reason I'm not able to share. All right, in my case, but that's because so let me use my webcam here. So you should be able to double click on the little thumbnail here, so you can see when you go to the People tab, you now have recommended connections that people that Hopin has determined using its algorithm that these are people you may want to send a message to, or request a meeting, or invite to an instant video call. We're going to experiment with these if it gets to be more annoying, and let us know, especially as guides on the side, if you're receiving like endless requests for video meetings. Maybe we'll turn that feature off. We're going to test it. It'd be nice if people are able to use it. But the main speed networking is here. You click on Join Now, And then I think here is what Charlotte was showing. So when you're ready to meet someone new, you click on join. And I'm going to demonstrate, but I don't think I'll get very far. All right, and actually I can't do it from this screen of mine. But basically you click on join, you're connected with somebody else randomly. You have 5 minutes. Maybe Charlotte, you can go back to your presentation because I think the rest of it hasn't changed. And you have 5 minutes to meet. Participants will have been given today a discussion guide for each of the networking sessions. So specific questions, things to think about, resources to review, and then you can take it from there. Over to you, Charlotte.
Okay, thank you, Reda. So once you have clicked on ready, you're going to be you match with someone, and you can choose based on your internet connectivity to turn on your video and your audio, and you can get to discuss. One thing that is great with the networking feature is that you're able, if you find that the discussion is quite interesting, so you're able to extend, and there is a timer that does like a countdown 5 minutes downwards. So if you agree with a person that you want to extend the chat, you can click on the extend button. The other person has to agree to the extension on their own end, because they also have the extension button, have to agree on the extension for you to extend the time for the chat. And also there are times you want to maybe pursue the discussion after hop in. You want to swap a contact details email, you click on the connect button, and the other person also has to agree to connect with you. So click on the connect button, both of you, and agree to swap contact info. So basically it's very simple, it's very straightforward. Now there's times when if at the end of the conversation you want to leave, you simply click on the leave button. So if you want to go back to find the contacts that you connected with through networking, you have you go to under your profile, you see your account. That's my account. You click on you click on your icon. It's going to show your account, and then you click on under your account. You click on connections, and all of the connections that you have made during the networking through networking, they will show up with their contact details. So that is it for networking, and I'll just take advantage,
Charlotte,
maybe show. Yes, Reda?
Yeah, if I may. So I know that most of our speakers, panelists, guides on the side have a specific plenary or workshop that they're taking responsibility for or closely involved with. The value of networking, though, if you have time, if time allows, once you're done with your session or before your session, it's really, really fascinating. You click on the button and you're connected with someone probably working in a district health facility, but maybe a region or state or at the central level in the country that you may or may not know, and the country or the location or the context. And they've been doing a lot of thinking about the specific issues that the networking is focused on. And first just that initial intro and then getting to know each other and listening to each other. It's just amazing. Last time I did it, I think I was connected to this young man who was in a fairly remote area of DRC. I don't know how he was able to get a good connection, who is doing door-to-door Ebola vaccine information campaign. And so we were able to speak about that while he was in his context and I was in my home office. So I highly recommend that experience, especially if you have been perhaps you haven't been able to go as much visit people in countries that we work with as in the past. So just to add that, to really emphasize the value, even if it's not formally part of the partnership or part of your involvement in Teach to Reach. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Reda. And I'll just quickly recall in terms of, because you may join the networking session based on the thematic area that is has been selected. The first networking will be on overcoming IA 2030 challenge to improve immunization performance. All of the details are there in the program that we share. And then the second is what I am doing to build confidence in COVID-19 vaccines. And the third is on how I am challenging gender barriers in immunization. So if there is you want to have a discussion with frontline workers around any of these topics, I'll really, like Reda just said, it's a great experience to have. So I'll just take advantage, since we didn't go through all of the slides in the Zoom room, just to show maybe the relevant next steps is that you ensure that you are registered for Teach to Reach Connect 6 in Hopin. That is the event, the main event that is different from the dress rehearsal, and you'll be getting links to your free tickets for the actual event. So I'm sure Reda will come back to that. And then what you need to do on Friday, that's the 17th of June, the particular day for Teach to Reach Connect 6. That is, we always want to be able to reach our panelists by email or phone in terms of reminder if you're having any technical issues, so that we can easily give you the support that you need. And then it's good to join the session at least 5 minutes before it starts, to allow for proper setup. That is 5 minutes ahead for those who be in the Zoom studio for the plenary, or hop in for everything else. And then we have tested, thanks to Rachel, we tested the screen sharing. If you're having any slides, it's always good to test that. And also to keep an eye on the chat for questions, as well as the Q&A like we saw. And enjoy outside your own session. Try to enjoy networking, maybe just talking with 1 or 2 people. That's 10 minutes, 10 minutes of your time. It could give you some very useful information, but also be very encouraging to most of our participants who are frontline workers. And it will be great for them to connect with global level health professionals. With your rich experience, they'll surely have something to take away from that encounter. And 2 quick ways to troubleshoot when using Hopin, because a Hopin, like Reda said, it's a sophisticated platform. So if you are having any trouble, you can refresh your Chrome browser. It usually solves like 95% of the technical difficulties. And if refreshing the browser does not work, it has worked well for me in the past, especially those of us who are in areas where connectivity is usually an issue. And if refreshing does not work, you can just close your browser and restart it, or restart your computer. I have also seen that from past experience, that it gets to work pretty well. So that is it for this session. Are there any other questions? If you have any questions, my eyes are on the Q&A to check in terms of this session. Are there any questions, any concerns? You can also just unmute yourself to ask your question.
And the same for those of you who are in Zoom for whatever reason. If you haven't been able to make it, we can follow up more closely. But I think almost everyone made it, but it would be good. Make sure you don't leave the session if you're still unsure about something. I realize we're 17 minutes over time, which is very unusual for us. Teach to Reach next week has to run like clockwork, because at least for the plenary sessions, because they are back to back, we'll actually be ending at the 50-minute mark for each session to give us time to then change over to the next plenary session. But the only reason we have started 1 or 2 minutes late on some of the plenaries is one time we had basically our entire studio crashed. But other than that, we should be, we should be running on time. So please, if you can at all, make sure you are registered for Teach to Reach 6, and make sure that you do join at least a few minutes before the start time. 15 minutes before is really appreciated. 10 or 5 minutes before, we're really grateful. And if you join right on time because you had a meeting right before, we understand.
Thanks, Reda. If there are no questions, you can leave the sessions. I would like to invite you to click on people now and try out networking, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, just to make sure that it's going to work for you next Friday. Reda, I don't know if there's any other thing you wanted to add before we close the session.
just to thank all of the partners who are here.
I think sorry, sir. I think I have a question. Good afternoon, sir, and colleagues. Good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel Musa calling from Kaduna. The last Teach to Read Connect 5, I had a very good session networking with one of the senior professionals from in Afghanistan, and we added more minutes because it was a very good discussion. And so along the line, we were trying to exchange addresses or contacts. Then somehow, I don't know, was it from his own end or my own end, the whole thing went blank. I don't know, probably it's network, or probably there was something we touched. I never can know how it happened. And then unfortunately, thank you for the explanation, Charlotte. But then I was thinking if Hopin should have, or at the end of the session, probably there's a way you have lost contact with someone and then you want to reach him. There should be a kind of a general data store, a space that probably you can now probably get, because I tried all I could and to see how I could reach him, and I couldn't. So it has actually been not a very good, I had a very successful discussion Connect 5, but then the address was something that, you know, we couldn't have just phantom how everything just disappeared. So I don't know if there's a way you could help me and then explain more on that aspect. Even though I knew Charlotte had explained that there's a way you can click the profile network and then you see. But unfortunately, then I didn't have that idea to go through, and then so that we can be able to continue our conversations out of the whole thing. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Emmanuel. That's a very good question. So, if you click on you both need, as Charlotte a few minutes ago demonstrated, you need to both click on Connect when you're in the networking session. So try to do that early on, and you both need to do it in order for the other person to be added to your connections, which is in your Hopin account. Now, one thing is that this edition of Teach to Reach Connect is getting a major upgrade to the networking. So you'll see when you go to the People tab, you'll see that there's the speed networking, which is, you know, what you already know, but there's also the possibility to look up people, send them a message, and invite them to a video call so the speed networking is random. The video calls and the messaging, you can see the recommended connections, and you can also look up people. So if I go, let's say I think it's in the reception, and I go to people, I can see for this rehearsal everyone who's in here, and I can reach out to them. So as long as you remember the person's name, you should be able to find them, and then you invite them to a video call, schedule a meeting, or send a message. Now, if there's too many sort of requests, we may turn that off, but at least I think it's a nice feature to go beyond the random networking to be able to offer that for this edition. Over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Reda. Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you everyone for joining this session. Look forward to seeing you next Friday for Teach to Reach Connect. Right now.
All right, once again, thank you to all the partners who are still in the room, and to the Teach to Reach leaders who are here with us as well. Take care. And just to say, this Hopin space will remain open until I think Sunday noon. In case you want to come back and try joining a session, see how to share your screen and so on, you can do that. You should be able to do that at any time. Apologies for going over, but I hope this was useful and will help you next Friday when you actually come for the session. Once again, thank you and goodbye.